اللي راح تكون يعني من المتوقع ان تاتي بدوله فلسطين سواء اليوم او حتى بكره بعد اطلاق كما سياده الرئيس محمود عباس. اوكي، اليوم عندنا تاكيدات من بريطانيا، عندنا تاكيدات من البرتغال، ويمكن يكون استراليا وكندا، فاليوم ممكن يكونوا 4 دول. لاحقا يعني عندنا تاكيدات من لوكسمبورغ، من بلجيكا، من سان مارينو، من بلجيكا، سان مارينو، اندورا، في كمان فرنسا اكيد طبعا، وفي كمان وحده مالطا.
يعطيك العافيه دكتوره. في تهديدات اسرائيليه بعد خطوه الاعتراف، كيف تتابعوا هاي التهديدات من هاي الناحيه؟ والناحيه الثانيه باعتقادك شو المطلوب من الدول اللي راح تعترف بدوله فلسطين كخطوات عمليه؟ ايش بترتب على هاي الدول بعد الاعتراف؟ ممكن سؤال ثالث سريع، رمزيه خطاب الرئيس محمود عباس بكلمه مسجله، حرمانه من المشاركه في الجمعيه العامه كالمعتاد يعني.
اوكي. التهديدات مرتبطة بما هو مطلوب من الدول، يعني التهديدات الإسرائيلية مش جديدة، يعني احنا عايشين تحت التهديدات الإسرائيلية على مدار عقود، ولكن واضح انه رح يصير في تهديدات اقوى، وعم نشوف ايش في عم بيصير على الارض. اليوم دور الدول المعترفة واللي وافقت على بيان نيويورك تقول ما هي الخطوات اللي رح تاخذها لحتى تردع هذا الاحتلال، فنعول على المجتمع الدولي، لانه احنا لحالنا ما رح نقدر نردع هذا الصلف الاسرائيلي. احنا ودول العالم الواقفة اليوم مع الحق الفلسطيني هي اللي بدها تاخذ خطوات على الارض. بالنسبة لرمزية الخطاب بكلمة مسجلة، يعني احنا نأسف انه ما قدرنا نكون في نيويورك، ولكن علينا اسماع صوتنا، احنا الطرف الاساس في كل اللي عماله بيصير اليوم في نيويورك، وبالتالي يعني في طرق تانية نقدم فيها كلمتنا، وهذه بتعبر عن التزامنا بحقنا لحتى نقدر نسمع صوتنا. وسيادة الرئيس رح يكون عنده كلمة عبر الفيديو كونفرنس، وهي رسالة قوية للمجتمع الدولي انه لا يمكن تجاهلنا احنا كفلسطينية كطرف اساس في هذه القضية. No, raise your voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daily Telegraph, UK. Foreign Minister, thank you for doing the briefing. It's been reported recently that Arab neighbours, particularly Saudi Arabia and the UAE, are considering a post-war government or administration of Gaza that does not include the Palestinian Authority. Could you comment on that, please?
Any plan for the future must include the Palestinian Authority, because the one entity that has the legal and administrative mandate over the entirety of occupied Palestine is the Palestinian Authority. So whatever plan that is presented at the table, whether from an Arab country or the world at large, needs to ensure that that is taken into consideration.
Thank you, Minister. Matthew Doran from ABC Australia. You've outlined that 10 countries are going to be formally recognising statehood in the next day or so, including Australia and the UK and France and Canada there. When you're talking about concrete actions that actually need to follow that, could you outline what you're envisaging there? Because we have seen countries, including Australia, sanction Israeli ministers. We've seen other countries going through the process of arms embargoes, but clearly those measures haven't had that much of an impact on the process. So what tangible steps are you looking for in the next short run?
We want to amplify those steps, because the more the merrier. The more countries institute these measures, the more Israel becomes isolated. We want, as I said, to amplify them, and we want those countries to go by the actionable items that are required as per the New York Declaration. For example, We need support to the Palestinian Authority so that it continues with whatever it needs to do in terms of meeting the needs of the Palestinian people. We need to work on the economy of we need to look at the legalities. How do you legally help the state of Palestine materialize on the ground? All of this together, the intent is to put as much pressure as we can.
Hi, Foreign Minister Alexander from Reuters. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu the other week declared that there would never be a Palestinian state. And at the same time, Israeli officials say that the only way there can be a Palestinian state is through direct negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. The US ambassador to Israel has called recognition a stunt and said that it's a violation of Oslo. So what is your response to these positions by the Israelis, by the US ambassador, and also is the Palestinian Authority ready to sit down face-to-face with Israeli counterparts and discuss this? Thank you.
Oslo has been violated left and right by all the unilateral measures by Israel throughout the past 3.5 decades. So the violations are definitely from the Israeli side. Direct negotiations, we have had no direct negotiations since 2008 and for a very brief period in 2015 with the Kerry shuttle diplomacy. But there have been no direct negotiation. Israel has no intent to negotiate. Israel is not for negotiations. And as you said, Netanyahu and others, and today more so than ever, they say no to a state of Palestine. How do you negotiate with somebody that upfront says no to a state? We're negotiating a state, we're negotiating borders, we're negotiating water of that state, etc. How do you negotiate with them? So we have come to terms today that Israel has no intent, does not want to negotiate, so the ball is in the courts today of the international community.
الاعتراف اللي بيتم خلال الايام القادمه اسرائيل تهدد انه سيقابل بالمزيد من الاجراءات على الارض باعتبار انه هذه خطوه احاديه الجانب. فعليا الاباده متواصله في غزه، الضم متواصل في الضفه الغربيه، اليوم حتى الفلسطيني ممكن يبعد، واللي شفناه بقرى شمال غرب القدس انه الفلسطيني سيخرج بتصريح من قريته وبلدته مثل ما جاوبتي بالانجليزي. فالخطوات الفعليه على الارض يعني لم يبقى للفلسطيني اي شيء الان، وبالتاكيد سموتريتش سيصعد وبالتالي حجز اموال المقاصه، ممكن انتقام اكثر من الاسرى، وايضا توسيع حرب الاباده في غزه. يعني هناك اعترافات علنيه، ولكن على الارض ما الذي يمكن أن يتغير؟
جبارة، أنت قلتي إنه الإجراءات متزايدة، الإبادة متواصلة والتصعيد قائم. هذا قائم في اعتراف وبدون اعترافات. هذه سياسة إسرائيلية. يعني الاعترافات ممكن شوية تعمل تشنج أكثر، ولكن الهجمة على الشعب الفلسطيني، على الكل الفلسطيني بأشكالها المختلفة في قطاع غزة والضفة الغربية قائمة. اليوم اللي عم نقوله لدول العالم إنه أنتوا التزمتوا بالاعتراف بالدولة، عم بتقولوا لإسرائيل إنه دولة فلسطين خطوطها 67 في شعبها في حكومتها، وإحنا بدنا نجسدها على الأرض. وإحنا التزمنا في بيان نيويورك اللي فيه العديد من الخطوات اللي إحنا بدنا نساعدكم من خلالها لحتى تجسدوا هاي الأرض الدولة. اليوم بدنا نقول للدول ممتاز، إحنا وإنتو خلينا نشوف إيش هاي الخطوات اللي بدنا نبدأ فيها، لأنه زي ما قلت لك الرك اليوم على العالم، لأنه إحنا كلنا بعرف إنه هاي إسرائيل دولة كولونيالية إحلالية لا تريد قيام الدولة الفلسطينية، وعليها أن تجبر من خلال القانون الدولي، من خلال إجراءات دولية وتعظيم هذه الإجراءات لحتى تعيد نظرها في فكرة الدولتين، وإنه لا يوجد أي أمن واستقرار في المنطقة إلا من خلال الدولتين.
ولكن هل بقي شيء من الدولة؟ نحن نتحدث عن دولتين، بالضفة الغربية هل بقي شيء للحديث عن دولة؟
طيب منيح، خلينا نقول إذا بدنا نقول لم يبقى أي شيء معناته إحنا رحنا لمربع إنه القضية انتهت. لا، إحنا بنقول هاي أرضنا، كل شيء إسرائيل بتقوم فيه على هاي الأرض المحتلة هو باطل وغير شرعي حسب القانون الدولي، وهذا ما يقوله العالم اليوم. اليوم العالم عم بقول هاي أرض محتلة، هاي أرض مش متنازع عليها، وكل شيء بيقوم فيه الاحتلال من ناحية التغيير الديموغرافي والتغيير الجغرافي هو باطل. وفي طرق لحل القضية إذا كان في نية حقيقية للوصول إلى سلام.
Hello, I'm Lise Vogel from French television. Minister, sorry for my English and French. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, pushes a lot for the recognition of the state of Palestine. What would you ask now to France and to other Western countries? What concrete measures do you need to stop colonization and to move forward now? This would be my first question. And the second question is about the prerogatives asked in the New York Declaration, like an immediate ceasefire and the release of all the hostages and the return of Palestinian prisoners. Do you have some leverage? Do you have the means to put some pressure on Hamas about this?
In terms of President Macron, first of all, we would like to thank much President Macron for teaming up with Saudi Arabia, because both Saudi Arabia and France have put their weight into this and were adamant to making it happen. And we know the process from the beginning, when this was a mere idea, to the process taking us to New York, and today taking us to the recognitions. So thank you, France, and thank you, President Macron. In terms of the measures, there are numerous measures. Already we've talked about some of them in terms of sanctioning settlers, sanctioning settlements, the arms embargo. There are other issues that we can delineate, and they are all part and parcel of the New York Declaration. The New York Declaration is very clear on what needs to happen, and what I'm calling for today, that the ball now is in the court of the international community. They need to decide how they would go about this, and the credibility of the world is at stake. Now the world is saying out loud, Palestinian state, and we need to materialize it. Now we need to show the Palestinians what these measures are. In terms of Hamas and what is happening, what was the third question? Well, we have countries that are working on reaching an agreement, and we trust that these countries are working in good faith to bring us closer to reaching first an internal agreement and then moving forward with the day after in Gaza.
For Dutch RTL News. You already spoke on it, but I would like to ask again. Already Palestine is under occupation. Prime Minister Netanyahu has said there will never be a Palestinian state. So can you explain to us what will it matter, the recognition of these extra countries?
What will the recognition bring? The recognition will amplify the position of the world standing with the rights of the Palestinian people. And these are weighty countries. I mean, you have big countries that are supporting this Palestinian right, and they will be asked to follow up with the measures that they have endorsed in the New York Declaration.
And then, of course, there are also some countries left that have not recognized Palestine yet, among which the government of the Netherlands. What would you like to say to those countries?
I would like to say to those countries, including the United States, whereby some of its Congress members, I believe, have tabled something on the recognition, to take that very, very seriously. Because at the end, this is what is right. Because at the end, this is what will bring peace and security for all people in the area. Because at the end, if recognition is not coming forward from these countries, they will be isolated. I mean, today we have 82% of the countries of the world siding with the rights of the Palestinian for self-determination and have recognized or will recognize this week the state of Palestine. How would these countries look when they all say that they are for peace, they are for international law, they are for the rights of the people, they have been teaching us human rights for decades? How will they look in front of their people? How will they look in terms of, comparing with those who have come forward? I think in the final analysis, all countries will come to terms with the fact that recognition is the way to go. The rights of the Palestinians need to be upheld, and that these rights and the struggles of the Palestinian people for over 7 decades need to be respected, and we deserve to live in peace and security. One last question.
Thank you. In the UK, the decision by the UK government to recognise Palestine is being described by some as atonement or apology for the UK's historic role in this region after the declaration and mandate and everything followed. How would you characterise it?
I think a lot of pain and suffering was a result of the Balfour Declaration. We all know this. And after the Balfour Declaration and the division of Palestine, Palestinians have suffered immensely. Today, the position of the United Kingdom is in the right place, because it's telling the Palestinians that enough is enough of this suffering, enough of blindly supporting an occupier state. Let's move on with peace and security for both people, and not the peace and security of one people on the account of the other. So what Britain is doing and the other countries are doing is looking for a future where there is a state of Palestine and the continuation of a state of Israel, living side by side in peace and security.
Thank you so much.